A lot of people in the state are unaware of what these waters hold. Sharing those, I think, is an important part of this community. Understand cold water in the state is exceptionally important. It's how we repair these systems, it's how we preserve and conserve them, and help these species thrive.
Just seeing the different careers that people have had, but still putting in a lot of time and dedication into these river restoration projects has been really cool. And that's what I want to do, you know, that's how I want to make an impact, is do what I love, and then at the end of the day come back and fish and protect the places that I love.
These are great places to preserve and protect and to improve for the better in the future. The people that have done the work here on the ground in Colorado have been doing it for decades. It's a lifetime endeavor of service for sure.
So I made this like sand worm thing, the pink thing. It's really cool.
So the vision of our camp is to provide a program that is about half conservation education and about half fly fishing education.
I mean, here at camp, we want to provide a fun time for the kids, but the real guts of our program is turning them into conservationists.
Super excited to come down here and learn more about fly fishing and more about like tying flies and water conservation, and learning about how the bugs help our environment and help everything else.
Emma's in college and she's a firefighter.
So we take kids that are, some of them have never fly fished in their life, some of them are experienced, and we step them through the whole process of fly casting, reading a river. They learn how to tie flies, and then we tie that into macroinvertebrate surveys, how we use that aquatic life to gauge the health of streams.
I think one of my favorites is when you see the kids able to pick up a bug in the water and identify it as, oh, so this is a mayfly nymph, and I'd use this pattern to mimic it, to just really see that just information really cross over.
We have learned about the mayflies, the caddises, nymphs, and a lot of fun stuff. We've learned about the life cycles and when trout like to eat them the most and when they're around and how long they last for. I learned how to throw a fly a little bit better and in better pockets and stuff, which was really cool today. What else did I learn today? I don't remember that much.
We always have a conservation project at camp, and when we get feedback from our campers, that's one of the highlights to them, because that's when they actually get out there and plant a tree or help fix a trail. They realize, wow, I did something that impacts trout habitat. And they're really, really excited about that.
The future of the sport of fly fishing and the future of the people who are the caretakers of the streams is with our young people.
I got involved with youth education because I just think working with kids is a hoot. The energy feeds you.
As my wife says, I come back 10 years younger. A week spent with all these young people and all this infectious energy and enthusiasm that they have. And I would agree with her. I come back like, man, that was cool. I can't wait to go next year.
I will definitely take this knowledge that I've learned here, and even when I'm in another river, I will try teaching the younger people underneath me that want to learn fly fishing. I will teach them what I know and teach them what you guys have taught me here.
It works. Thank you. I threaded
Most of the kids just love the opportunity to get away from mom and dad and have fun for the week. But there are some, and I've already identified some in this camp that are going to be the leaders of the future.
No, it's not.
Yeah, well, you learn so much. If you ever want to do anything outdoors, fishing-wise, this is definitely the place to go. You meet awesome people, you fish a lot, you learn a lot. It's quite the experience.
There are so many pressures in this world that reduce habitat. We need to have future guardians of that habitat.
And so just seeing it get better and better each year, I really think that this could be really something special that's around for a while.
We sort of went from thinking that there was one or two different sort of subspecies of cutthroat trout in Colorado, and now there's this sort of explosion of, there's different lineages all over the state, and the idea of being able to catch something that's, almost like a living fossil.
Wild. The elk were bugling. Come on, greenback. The little naive cutthroats were leaping out of the water for your fly before it even hit the water. And I think that's where I fell in love with native trout, I think, right there.
People getting to actually tangibly touch those species and fish for those species. That's why it's been so important to keep Zimmerman open to fishing, catch and release fishing.
We've been really going pretty hard on greenback recovery in the Platte Basin since about 2013, at least with regard to reintroducing populations. And Zimmerman Lake, where we are today, was the first place where we reintroduced these fish back into their native range, the South Platte Basin.
2013, green.
We rely on volunteers from TU to help us collect fish and do the spawning operation.
We moved to Grand Junction in '77, and I think I saw that TU was having an organizational meeting the next year, and I thought, well, this is all about trout fishing. I want to go and check it out. After a while, the mission got to me. I mean, we're in this. We're not a fishing club, but it's a conservation effort and doing good work in good places. And it just resonated with me. That's all I can say.
But really, a lot of the work we've been doing has been more of a grassroots effort, building support from the ground up, and it couldn't be done without TU volunteers and also the TU staffers that have been great help.
Oh, look at that.
That I finally actually got to see not only a greenback trout for the first time in my life, a real, honest, a good one. I actually get to see it now, today, and I felt rather honored to be invited to come and do it because of my love for the native fish.
We're really getting the message out about native fish conservation to a broader public that expands beyond TU, but it's only because of TU's involvement that we're reaching those people. So I really see it just growing and growing, and I hope that the interest level to participate and play a role in making sure these fish are around for future generations to enjoy only expands.
I still have got one to go. You got to catch that one of those cutthroats that I saw today. It was fascinating to watch. Fish were beautiful, surroundings were beautiful. Hey, it doesn't get much better than this.
Our whole campaign within TU was really about asking the question, why Two Forks? Because we didn't think there was a good enough answer. I can remember my first day ever in Cheeseman Canyon quite clearly. I had been in Boulder, Colorado not very long and walked into a fly shop and hey, I've heard about this South Platte and Cheeseman Canyon. How do I get there? What do I do? And I crested the hill and walked in and I went down to the river and there's a beautiful pale morning dunhatch and I caught 7 or 8 trout right off the bat and immediately fell in love with the place. You come over the trail, the Gill Trail into Cheeseman Canyon, and you realize it's a special place. So that was another whole component of the Two Forks battle in that, well, for Denver and Front Range fly fishermen, Cheeseman Canyon is that mecca or that holy water. It really came down to what were the choices to develop water for the Front Range. I mean, it was a given that more water was going to be needed in the future, but as I said, it was really kind of an inflection point that all that started happening in because people were realizing that we just can't take our rivers and other resources for granted, and we just can't keep building dams and inundating and annihilating great fisheries. Well, CTU had been fairly prominent in Colorado water issues for a number of years. We really ramped up in the 1980s. I think there was an increasing awareness at the time of our membership in the need to be advocates. When I came into Trout Unlimited, I was a 24-year-old, kind of a young Turk in the organization, right? Now I'm 62 years old, and well, I don't think that way in my mind. I'm like, boy, now I'm like one of the older guys. So what I like to tell people of their 20s or millennials or of your generation is, what are your passions? To fulfill your passion, you need to be an advocate.
Between the old-timers and my personal experience, there's been a tremendous amount of change in the Fraser River, and it's mostly been deterioration, degradation of the river. Until Trout Unlimited came along, there was very little improvement of the river. That was an unheard of item. The more I got involved, the more people I knew and the more knowledge I gained, and the more passionate I became, understanding that the Fraser River does need saving, and somebody's got to start that. And I felt obligated to do something for my community. I love Fraser.
Mhm.
80% of a river, time to dig the heels in.
Yeah.
I became really a political opponent of the project. And now I'm a political proponent of the project. I actually think that Denver has offered enough mitigation to not just address the problems that they caused in the past, but the problems that the new project would cause. So we signed this Colorado River Cooperative Agreement. There is a 2 years worth of work to put into this. This is what led to all of the mitigation that Denver didn't offer to begin with, but we got eventually. They agreed in writing to do all kinds of concessions that Trout Unlimited felt, okay, now we can keep a river alive with Denver as an ally. And we started holding weekly phone calls with Denver Water to see how they could operate their system in a more environmentally friendly way. I started seeing improvements to the river. Denver Water started releasing additional water into streams that were seeing high stream temperatures. Had we continued to fight Denver, that river would die.
Yeah.
Partnering with Denver, we have a chance to keep this river alive, and if we can't keep these rivers alive that are so heavily diverted, the rest of the rivers in the state are in trouble.
Yeah.
Cultures change, and the culture at Denver Water has changed. You see this picture? That's what the Fraser looked like before the project. That cannot sustain aquatic life. The Fraser Flat Stream Channeling was a huge success. The immediate, obvious success was the biomass of fish went up 400% in this reach of stream. That's incredible. Before it couldn't sustain fish, and now it's got healthy, huge fish.
That's sweet. Fraser Valley Gold right there. Money!
In all my years of my own personal river journey, I've settled on 3 simple truths. Legislation's too slow, litigation's too expensive, education is going to save our rivers.
As a volunteer organization, that there's always projects going on and there's always people who are putting in a lot of time and work, but they don't get recognized. So a big part of this film, for me at least, was shedding light on all the people who have made Trout Unlimited so successful here in Colorado.
I think that's the thing that I'm going to take away the most is like patience, for lack of a better term. Like, this is a long road. People like Kirk have dedicated 30 plus years to living in the Fraser Valley and turning around that watershed. But you know, driving past it last weekend, saw the work. Like, it has really made an impact.
Talking to the different people that we met all over Colorado, seeing them work on the projects that they have throughout time has encouraged me to keep volunteering with TU, because I know that there's always going to be a place for me to make an impact. Regardless of what I'm doing outside of Trout Unlimited, I can still be a student, I can still work as a firefighter, but then at the end of the day I can come back and fly fish and hang out with the people that I love here.
And you know, the mission now is greater than just like, hey, did I do one thing? It's like, no, I'm gonna do this throughout my lifetime. And then maybe I'll be the guy that gets rode around by some young whippersnapper so that I can catch a trout. How many B-roll quotes can we roll out, you know, like, look how nice it is up here today, man. It's Colorado. Hey, dude.